welcome back to another video where today this is something a little bit different as I started to make Flash tutorials. Yay! Yeah. So the reason why I'm making Flash tutorials is that I actually published a video which is Pen Pineapple Apple Pen remake. That was made in Adobe Flash or Animate, and also my intro, which is shown on almost the beginning of every video, has my intro. So my intro is created in Adobe Animate. So this is Adobe Animate. If you don't know what Adobe Animate is Adobe Flash, but renamed in February 2016. So I have an experience in Flash. I have watched a lot of tutorials. You might have seen my animated versus animation. It was also I started out with Flash TS6, but then I moved on to Adobe Animate CC 2017. Then Adobe Animate CC 2017.1. Whoops, I stopped the recording. So yeah, this is Adobe Animate. This is the UI that you're going to get upon launch. So here is your UI. You'll basically see something like this. This when you start up. So yeah, this is the default UI once you get when you start Animate. I don't want to show the start screen. There's projects that I've been working on I don't want to show the names of. But I actually changed this UI. I basically moved it and extended the UI. Moved the toolbar to the left and extended it. And I'll show you other changes. So yeah, guys, this is basically my interface for monitors that have smaller sections. So I have added a lot more stuff like action, scene, brush library, and extensions over here just because I wanted to. And I extended the toolbar so that it will fit. And so this is this is basically you need to know this is a vector based program. So um, if you draw with bitmap, it will have these tiny squares that are called pixels. So vectorized fixes that problem, and basically bitmap graphics or raster graphics, which has pixels included, you cannot edit the what you drew anytime, but you can edit vector graphics. So if I draw a pencil line over here, zoom in, we'll see that it stays high quality no matter what. Oh yeah, you can edit your zoom size over here. I will show you the behind the scenes of my intro in a future video. But for now, I will also explain that there's modes for pencils, which many maybe people not realize. So straighten is basically bending the curve to straight. So for example, if I draw a curve, you might notice that some places it's just sharp. If I attempt to draw a square, boom, square. Perfect square. Not perfect. Draw a circle, boom, circle. It basically straightens the stuff. Ink acts like ink. Maybe, I don't know. And smooth is which I use most, is because it actually retains the sharp things, but also straightens it a little bit. It straightens it a little bit, but then leaves it to creativity. And the icon with the pencil here, The paintbrush and the pencil and other tools might use it draw things called strokes, which are borders, basically. So the pencil over here, beside the color of the pencil, you can set the color of the stroke. I could set this to red, and this paint bucket here. By the way, I have nothing useful things clicking on it, but if I click on this paint bucket, this determines the fill color, which is basically the inside, which is used by this brush. So if I take this brush, draw with it, then it goes into a thing called a fill shape. And also, there's every drawing object has a thing called object drawing, which basically allows you to draw objects, which basically I draw stick figures from, and it's kind of helpful in some points. So I'm going to turn that off and draw a square to give you a demonstration of something. There's also your properties panel over here and library over here. Usually they're just one window. I actually just separated them. And so here you have your properties panel and your library. I separated these as I said. And here's the drop down for different libraries. So if you open multiple projects, you can see the libraries over here and drag them without having to go over there, copy, and then paste. But if you want to make the exact position, then you can Control Shift V. You might not know what this means, but I won't use keyboard shortcuts over here. So, as I said, red one, I could set this green. So let's draw a rectangle, for example. Here's is the stroke amount. And there's something called object drawing. Maybe I may explain that. Let's turn that off for now. It will display over here. So this is stroke. This is fill. You could edit anytime. This is the stroke amount, which I set really high. And yeah, I don't have those Wacom pads, those pen tablets, which are allowed to draw. So I'm using my mouse pad, which I'm using by my finger. And so if we use the pencil tool, or maybe the paintbrush tool, if we draw a stroke over here, you see that it doesn't affect anything. You see there, if, if you can see there, if we delete it, nothing happens. But if we set it to blue, just fill to blue, that is not an option. I just wanted to. If we draw over here with the fill, with the brush, it gets emitted. But this doesn't happen with object drawing. This doesn't happen with object drawing whatsoever, since it's all in one piece and nothing happens. So you can't join those objects together since they're separate objects. But if you want to put them apart, you could simply just click break apart over here or right click break apart. You could make them back into an object, but the more you select, it'll become one piece of an object. So we can make this an object. And also there's an option for you to convert a line into a fill. Now, this is really a hard process since you have to trace it, but the Animate CC actually up there, or maybe older versions of Flash or CC, that's not in Flash CS6 at least. There's an option over here that says expand to fill, which now means it became a stroke to a fill. Isn't that convenient? Because now, if I have to do something about stroke and now I need to convert it to fill, I don't have to do all those tracing stuff, because before I had to create the lines and I had to erase it, and then I had to trace the shapes, trace the shapes, then fill it in, delete the stroke, copy it, paste it in all of the directions. That's a very complicated process. But with this one, it's not anymore. So, yeah, I actually have low battery, so we better make this quick. Here's the pencil tool, and here's the paintbrush tool. You can use this brush library for stuff like custom brushes. You could also use an app called Capture CC, which can allow you to make custom brushes, put them into your CC libraries, Creative Cloud libraries, bring them over to Animate, and create your own custom brushes. So we could go for arrows. It's lagging a lot. It's like pausing between every click in the brush library because it has to load everything. Arrow. This only works with this thing, this tool. So you press Y, drag, drag, oh wait, drag, double click. Now you see the style is over here. Now our arrow's like this. If we had to make an arrow like this, it's now easy. Very easy. So you could choose any of these stuff. And also an extra bonus to tell you guys is that the stroke can be edited in a wide variety of ways just by two options. It's down here in the properties bar. The cap. Remember when we actually drew the when we drew the paintbrush? You see the little round things, right? That's because the cap was set to round. It is the default option. So you could set it either to none. You could also set this for one stroke, but could either set it to none, which means no cap. Well, it joined. If you select one, it won't join. Select all, it'll select together. You could either choose it to be square or round, as we just saw. That way, when we selected, the cap is round or the ends. And that join value below there is what happens the join ends. Look, now round, now square, square. And when you select it, it's a square, but it's still joining. So if we want to fix that, we have three options. Round is the default one selected. Midder takes a little bit of time, but basically sharpens the edges. If we want to make all of these round, will it be a pain to do? When we select it, it becomes round, literally. So the midder is to sharpen it, and when you select the midder option, control the sharpness. So I don't know what that does, but I'm trying to extend that. Oh yeah, that autosave dialog. It's okay. This is what happens when you mess around with these stuff. 59. 60 is the maximum level you could go to. Also, there is round, which you just saw. It has a curved points, as you see here. And bevel is to actually cut off the edges. So when it joins, it cut off the edges like a history photo. So that's gonna be pretty much it. In the next Flash tutorial, I'll be explaining on how how I made my intro. And also, if you should know that there's this pen tool. Not that you should know, but it's a little bit useful. But what is most useful? Yeah, it's still set to these, but what is most useful? Look, this is object drawing. So when I double click it, it goes to drawing object. So let's turn that off. I'm interrupting all of it. But when you click over here, you could go. You could go to edit. I don't know. I can't really see stuff, but I can't really see stuff actually. I thought it was an edit menu. Okay, so I think it's in this menu. Wait a second. Yeah, there's a menu called Insert. Click that. Yeah, there's a menu called Insert. Click that. This new symbol, but this is actually to create a new symbol. What you want, what you want is to go to modify. I can't really see stuff. Modify. My battery's getting low. Modify. Convert to symbol. This is basically turning the object into symbol by pressing F8 is a shortcut. You could call it whatever you want. I'll explain symbols in a future video, the type of it, graphic, movie clip, button, yeah. Registration points. It determines the center point of the object. And advanced, to go to advanced, click that advanced thing. If you're an action script, if you're an action script person, folder, library root, new folder, existing folder. You could always choose from here. So registration, choose over here, the center will be over here, but I'll choose from the center. Now you see that this is added to the library. And you can see the little cross in the middle. This is your anchor point. It determines the root point of your object. So, for example, we set it to the center, it will move from the center. If we set it over here, it will move from that point. So basically, that thing will not move. The object will rotate at that point. And if you always delete it, don't worry, it's in your library. You could just simply drag it here, and you could drag as many instances of it as you want. Like, for example, you could drag 2 of them. Double click one to enter it. Double click! Yeah, that one. So we're in the symbol N space space H. That's a convenient name, isn't it? So, if you apply edits to this object, all other instances of the symbol will be changed. See that? Now it's changing in real time in the editor, in the stage, background, and in the library. That's a pretty cool feature, especially in preview real time. So that's going to be pretty much all for today. If you love this video, then please leave a like for more Flash tutorials. Other than that, I hope you enjoyed this tutorial. See you next time. Bye.